Maya nĩ mamwe ma marĩa tũkũharĩrĩirie Inooro mĩaraho. Meharĩria makĩhĩtahĩtano kĩa mũikarĩri gĩtĩ wa AUC kũnyita thing'a. Aciari gũtiganĩria gakenge thibitarĩ Longonot thutha wa gũciarwo na wathe. Ikundi cia gũtetera ihoto cia arwaru a HIV kũria thirikari yarĩre mĩbango ya gũthaitĩra arwaru acio. Na ndũgamano ya atongoria gũtumũka thathaitĩ-inĩ ya iria ya Nyala Ndaragwa arĩmi magĩtetia ũrũgamĩrĩri mũru. Tariki nĩ 13 mweri wa kerĩ mwaka wa 2025 na o harĩa hothe ũngĩkorwo ũgĩtomokera mwĩroreri wa Inooro TV twĩna ngatho nĩ ũndũ wa gũtũcagũra nĩgetha tũkũmenyithie maũndũ maingĩ marĩa mahanĩkĩte gũkinyagia ithaa rĩrĩ hamwe namo arĩ meharĩrĩria ma gĩthurano gĩa mũikarĩri gĩtĩ wa commission ya AU kĩrĩa gĩgakorwo gĩkĩhanĩka mũthenya wa Juma kũrĩa mũciĩ-inĩ mũnene wa Addis Ababa bũrũri-inĩ wa Ethiopia. Tũgũkorwo tũgĩthiĩ kũu na njĩra ya ĩmwe kwa ĩmwe. No mbere ĩyo nĩ mangĩ maingĩ tũkũharĩrĩirie mohoro-inĩ maitũ ma Inooro mĩaraho na niĩ ngĩkwamũkĩra mĩtambo-inĩ njĩtagwo Gathoni wa Jehia. Na rĩu tukĩambĩrĩria mohoro maitũ. Ũrũgamĩrĩri wa thibitarĩ ũmwe kĩũmbe mwena wa Longonot na Naivasha ũrageria gwĩcũrania gĩko kĩa mũrwaru ũmwe mũtumia ũratanahĩirwo na mwana wa kairĩtu na gũgatiganĩria thutha wako gũkorwo na wathe, akiuga we ndarendaga mwana wĩna wathe. Kũrũmĩrĩra gĩko gĩkĩ rĩu thibitarĩ ũyũ nĩ wĩkĩtie ihoya kũrĩ andũ a wendi mwega kũmateithĩrĩria gũkinyanĩria mabataro ma mwana ũyũ kuona rĩu matigĩtwo makĩhe mwana ũyũ iria rĩa mũtutu o makĩmwethagira njĩra cia ũrĩa angĩthĩnjwo nĩguo wathe ũcio ũrũngwo. Ngigĩ wa Nyamũ nĩ ũratambĩrĩria mohoro maitũ ma Inooro mĩaraho na riboti ĩno.
Wodi-inĩ no ya atumia arĩa maheo ciana thibitarĩ-inĩ wa Aitak mwena wa Longonot na Naivasha nĩkuo baby Tayana aciarĩirwo kiumia gĩthiru na thutha wa nyina na ithe kuona mwana wao oka atarĩ na ciĩga imwe na iria ingĩ irĩ na wathe magĩtua matua ma kũmũtiga makiuga o matiĩharĩirie kũrera mwana wĩna wathe.
Ta ciumia igĩrĩ ithirĩte twakorirwo na mweke uria ukago kawaida wa guciarithia mwana kurehe muoyo mweru thĩ ĩno no rĩu mwana ũcio agĩciarwo nĩ akorirwo na tũthĩna tũnini no ti tũingĩ mũno no rĩu family yao ikĩmũrega.
Aciari nĩ maregire mwana ũcio na makiuga matingĩhota kũmũrera koguo actually hĩndĩ ĩyo mwana aciarwo nyina nĩ aregire na kũmũrora maita merĩ ona ũrĩa mwana wake ahana ona nguo iria akuĩte cia mwana akĩona citikuma bagi yake tondũ atĩ mwana ta ũcio ndangĩkĩra nguo icio tondũ augire ti mwana wake. Koguo nake ithe tondũ arĩ kũnene agĩtũma mũciari wake arĩ we guka wa mwana oke arore mwana ũcio. Nake mwana amũrora arĩ akiuga family itũ ndĩrĩ yagĩa ciana ta ici na ndagũkorwo wa mbere na society itũ matiĩtĩkĩrĩte ciana ta ici. Koguo mwana ndingĩkĩinũkia tondũ ũyũ ndagwĩtĩkĩrĩka kũrĩa mũciĩ na nĩ agũkorwo na ihinda iritũ mũno.
Ndagĩtarĩ Benson Kimani na mũrunawe Mũchai Kimani arĩa makoretwo makĩrũmanĩrĩra na ũgima wa mwĩrĩ wa mwana ũyũ matarĩirie atĩ wathe ũrĩa baby Tayan arĩ naguo nĩ wa gũkorwo ciĩga ciake cia ũthiũ ti nginyanĩru na ndarĩ na ihĩndĩ rĩa thithi, agakorwo kũgũrũ kũmwe arĩ ona kĩara kĩmwe tu namo moko make ciara imwe itirakoretwo ciakinyanĩra gũkũra.
Skull yake yambĩtie haha ũguo gatagatĩ wa mũtwe gacoka na thutha no ha mbere hatirĩ na skull. No ngothi ĩho ũngĩhutia ngothi na hinya ũgũthiĩ ũhutĩtie brain yake no mĩrehere thĩna. Ũthiũ wake naguo wakorwo ndwarĩ sawa sawa tondũ ndarĩ na iniũrũ na maitho make nĩ maikũrũkĩte me haha thĩ me hakuhĩ na kanua na warora haha mbere biũ brain yake ka protrude gũkorwo na bulging.
Mwana ũyũ ndũngĩhoka nĩ ũthiũ iniũrũ rĩake rĩtiathondekire na ngina bridge ya inioro nayo ndiathondekire koguo kindu kiria tigitwo no marima atangihota kumahuhiria koguo mwana uyu ararira muno na kuhuhia gutumira kanua he mwana munini kuhuhia na kanua kwa ihinda inene ti undu mwega ni urehaga mathina ma ngoro ena risk ya kugucia irio na giko kingigithie mwena wa kuhuhia.
Urugamiriri wa thibitari uyu uria wakinyaniirie kuhe mwana uyu ritwa riri kuhitukira mutabania wa mihango James Kabugi ukiuga kiria marabatara kwa ihinda riri ni andu a wendi mwega kwiyumiria manyitanire ndire ya gukinyaniria mabataro ma mwana uyu kamuiria makinyanirie kuona kuria angithinjirwo niguo thina ucio uthondekwo.
Nabatara nguo tondu ngina na gitutigire tutari na nguo ciake na gufatara iria ria nan na gufatara a bit of medical facilitation nigetha akoretwo that deformity tukuga tutingihota kumutekera care no turoria kamwira akinyite haria hagirire ni tukwenda public kana mundu wa wendi mwega atuteithiririe uhoro ucio.
Mwana uyu nĩarenda ũteithio wa gwĩkwo plastic surgery na riu turetha ũteithio kuma mũndũ wothe ũrĩa ũngĩhota gũtũteithĩrĩria nĩgetha mwana ũyũ ekwo surgery.
Uyu niguo utwikite mucii mweru wa Bibi Tayan guku thibitari iria rathi na mbere na kumutangikira ino ya ITAC ikiuria andu a wendi mwega kunyitanira na guteithiriria mwana uyu agie na muturire mweru. Ngiribotera Inoro TV kuma Longonot guku ni gicigo-ini kia ubunge kia Naivasha thiini wa kaunti ya Naikuru njitagwo Ani Ngige wa Nyamu.
Thank you Ngige ni undu wa riboti ona tugithie na mbere makiria ma aciari igana rimwe a cukuru wa muthingi wa Mirera kaunti-ini ya Laikipia ni marurunganite makienda guthurimwo keri kwa bodi ya urugamiriri wa cukuru uyu undu uria maugite umanite na uhuthiri muru wa kigina na indo cia cukuru. Aciari aya maugite ati ni mongereirwo marihi ma cukuru hatari gukuruhania aciari makiuria atongoria a mwena uyu guthikiriria mafata mao amu bodi iria iriho ndiramarumbuia uria kwagiriire. Riboti ino twaririirio ni mwandiki witu Waithira wa Duati.
Aciari a thukuru wa Mirera kaunti-ini ya Laikipia maihoirwo ni matuku ya marurunganite nginyagia ihingo cia thukuru uyu magitete urugamiriri waguo uria maugite ni wagite uigiririki wa kuigana amu bodi iria iriho ndiratereba mihango ya thukuru na njira iria yagiriire. Aciari aya makite kuongererwo kwa marihi ma thukuru mategukuruhanio undu uria maugite ni uguithitie wihokeku wa urugamiriri wa thukuru na makiria arutani kumagira itio.
Tuigua mbeca andu makiuria TV-ini ati ka mbeca itiratumwo no ithu tutimenyaga igitumwo na itaratumwo tolo twitagio mbeca riu twenda kuria thirikari na turie ministry ya githomo yoke cukuru ino irore ituhatire giko kiria kiri guku cukuru ino marongereire bithi na matiatwetire tugakiuria atiriri ithuĩ na ithuĩ turutaga mbeca ri na nitwagire gugia na giikaro nigetha twariririe uhoro wa mbeca citu na gitumi kiria giatuma ciongererwo ri maraga gutwita uguo niki mabanga mbeca ri ithuĩ tukero ni mbeca fulani makera ciana koguo na marenda atiriri matubangira ithuĩ ri tutikoria kiuria tugwakoria kiniki na we ni watwete mwana waku
maugite cigana ni cigana riu makienda bodi iria iriho yehere utongoria-ini amu amwe ao matire na arutwo thukuru-ini uyu undu uria ucungirire kwaga kumakua tha na kumahinyiriria.
Ugite bodi yo tutikumienda tondu ona acio makoragwo bodi members acio aingi ao matire na ciana hau na nikio ona magituhinyiriria tondu na kiria giratuma maregere hau ri mararegera hau ni tukamba tukoria tiriri kai guku bodi ni hana atia igituika mwarimu ni ena hoti wa guthikunda mbeca bengi einga bodi yari ucio mundu wa mbere ciana ri irerwo ni mwarimu ithuĩ turi akigu ni undu wa uga kureana mateta maitu haha.
Aciari aya riu ni makaire thirikari ya mwena uyu kumaura murigo wa kuhinyiririo amu kwa ihinda iraya mationete uthii wa na mbere rungu rwa urugamiriri wa ihinda riri. Ngiribotera Inoro TV njitagwo Waithira wa Duati.
Na riu mwiroreri tuthie imwe kwa imwe nginyagia igoti ria Milimani kuria gavana wa tene wa Kiambu Ferdinand Waititu hamwe na angi ana maratuirwo cira wa ungumania wa shiringi milioni 588.
In addition, the sum of 25,624,500 received by Lake Naivasha Resort and entities co-owned by the former governor and the wife is also a benefit. The relevant law to apply in sentencing the accused person is one that is clearly prescribed in the following provisions. 1. Under ASECA, provision section 48(1), where a person convicted of an offense under that part shall be liable to A. Fine not exceeding 1 million, or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years, or to both. B. Additional mandatory fine if, as a result of the conduct that constituted the offense, the person received a quantifiable benefit or another person suffered a quantifiable loss. Under Section 48(2), the other limb, the mandatory fine referred to in subsection 1(b) shall be determined as follows. These are the mandatory fine will be arrived at. The mandatory fine shall be equal to 2 times the amount of the benefit or loss prescribed under subsection 1(b). And if the conduct that constituted the offense resulted in both a benefit and a loss prescribed under subsection 1(b), the mandatory fine shall be equal to 2 times the sum of the amount of that loss. Those are the provisions under ASECA for sentencing. Under the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015, the applicable provision is section 177, which reads, a person convicted of an offense under this act for which no penalty is provided shall be liable upon conviction, A, if the person is a natural person, to a fine not exceeding 4 million shillings or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years or to both. B, if the person is a corporate, to a fine not exceeding 10 million shillings. Those are the fines under the Public Procurement. As I sentence the accused persons, I do give credit to your conduct. And it has greatly been factored in this sentence. So, having set out the mitigation, the objective of sentencing, the law, and circumstances of this case, I now proceed to sentence accused persons. In count 1, first accused person, you rise up. Ferdinand Waititu, you rise up. Convicted of conflict of interest contrary to provision section 42(3), as read with section 48 of ASECA, the benefit acquired as a result of the offending acts being the sum of 25,624,500. Your sentence will be as follows. Under provision of section 48(1) of ASECA, a fine of 1 million in default, 2 years imprisonment. Still on count number 1, under the provisions of section 48(1)(b), as read with the section 48 2A, not B, 2A, I'm very specific, of a SECA, you pay a mandatory fine of 51,249,000, equal to 2 times the benefits, and in default, then you serve 7 years imprisonment. I'll also proceed to sentence you for the offense in count number 2, where you are also accused together with your company, SECA2 Estate Developers, convicted of dealing with suspect property, contrary to provision of section 47.1 as read with section 47.2A and 48 of SECA. Accused person on your behalf and on behalf of the company, I'll just issue one sentence: a fine of 500,000 in default, 12 months imprisonment. That's for count number 2. Count number 3, accused person, together with the 12th accused person, your company, SECA2, convicted of dealing with suspect property, contrary to provision 47.1 as read with 47.2A and 48 of SECA, on your behalf and on behalf of the company, I'll only issue one sentence: a fine of 500,000 in default, 12 months imprisonment. Count 4 against Ferdinand Waititu, Susan Wangari Ndungu, and Benvenue Delta Hotel, 13th accused person, convicted of dealing with suspect property. That's the man that was going to Benvenue. Contrary to provision of section 47.1 as read with 47.2A and 48 of SECA. I have observed that 13th accused person is just a business name owned by first and second accused persons. This will be the sentence for the accused persons. For that offense, for that particular count, first accused person, a fine of 500 shillings in default. You serve 12 years. You serve 12 months imprisonment. For the second accused person, Susan Wangari Ndungu, I'll sentence you to a fine of 500 in default, 1 year imprisonment. And I think that's the only sentence that you'll carry. So you can sit down. You can sit down, Governor. You have finished with your sentences. I don't think you're affected by the rest. Okay. Yes? 500,000. And that's the only sentence for Susan. Yes. That's the only sentence that she'll carry. Now, because there are no other counts that affect her. And I've not sentenced the partnership separately. And I think that one will also give you some bit of reprieve to organize yourself. Now, count 5 against Engineer Luka Wainyamwangi, convicted of abuse of office, contrary to provision of section 46 as directed 48 of Anti-Corruption Economic Crimes Act number 3 of 2003 for improperly awarding the tender. The value of the tender is 588,198,328 and 20 cents. I've looked at the circumstances under which the offense was committed and the role that you played. And I've tried to moderate the sentence as much as I can, JM, because you can see the figure. If we blindly go to the benefits, the figure is quite colossal. But all said and done. Under provision section 48.1, the first limb of SECA, you shall pay a fine of 1 million in default 2 years imprisonment. Under section 48 1 B as read with section 48 2 A of ASECA, the second limb. You shall pay a mandatory fine in the sum of 20 million. In default, you serve 5 years imprisonment. So I repeat, for the first limb, you pay 1 million. In default, 2 years imprisonment. Under the mandatory fine, I've told you the contract sum. And I think this is a warning that I'm giving to the professionals who are dealing with the professional duties. 20 million. In default, you serve 5 years imprisonment. And I think that's the only sentence you have. So in total, you are paying 21 million. You can see down it in here. Charles Chege Mbudia, Beth Wangeshi Mburu. And Testimony Enterprises Limited. You are convicted of engaging in fraudulent practice in the procurement, contract provision section 66(1) as read with section 177 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015. Your sentence will run as follows. For Charles Chege, the main director and majority shareholder of Testimony Enterprises Limited, your sentence is a fine of 500,000 in default, 12 months imprisonment. Beth, your sentence is reduced to a fine of 200,000 in default, you serve 12 months imprisonment. Count 8 against Chege, Beth, and Testimony Enterprises Limited. Convict of engaging in a fraudulent practice in procurement, contract provision section 66(1) as read with section 177 of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Those are the ones that deal with the forgeries of the documents. For Mr. Chege, being the main director and majority shareholder of Testimony, you pay a sum of 500,000 in default, 12 months imprisonment. I'm not sentencing the company. Beth, you are sentenced on behalf of the company to pay a fine of 200,000 in default, 12 months imprisonment. Again, I've factored in your roles. Count number 9 against Chege, Beth, and Testimony. And again, Mr. Counsel Swaka, I've really weighed on it and looked at the law as well as what is at stake. And from the arguments that I think it's Counsel Njenga brought in about probably some road here and there could have been constructed. But I think we'd rather not do that which we are not qualified to do. But I've tried my best, and this is the sentence. For the fourth accused person, Mr. Charles Chege Mbudia, you are the main director and shareholder of Testimony Enterprises Limited, and if anything, I think you are one person who bore the responsibility. You would have made things better if you had the qualifications. And the unfortunate thing, you are the one who brought yourself in these things. So this is the sentence for the first limb under 41 of ASECA. A fine of 1 million in default 2 years imprisonment. Under section 48, 1B, as read with 48, 2A. I'm not proceeding under 48, 2B, which is even more punitive. Because of that aspect, probably you might have used the resource to do that. I'll sentence you to pay the mandatory fine of 294,548,110. That sum is well calculated and equal to 2 times the benefit that you derive from that county. And I think that the last sentence on you. You can sit down for Beth. Beth, I really weighed on your issue, and I'll now tell you. At times you'd rather walk away, isn't it? Check it. Than do things. Don't be in companies you don't know what is happening. So I've weighed your issue. Much as Chege took the responsibility, and I also see him as a gentleman on that, I'll only sentence you under 48.1 of ASECA. You pay a fine of 1 million in default 12 months imprisonment, and that also gives a reprieve to the family to see your way forward. Now, Beth, you can sit down just a moment. Yes, is there any clarification you need? Council Monda? I'm still proceeding. Yes?
I just wanted to just clarification.
Yes.
Default sentence.
The default sentence for Mr. Chege. Yes. Mr. Chege, your default sentence would be 7 years under the mandatory fine. So if you don't raise that, or you have, in other words, you have got 7 years, you can still raise it and come out and you see what you can be able to do. Now, still on the sentence. The final bit of the sentence concern the provision of section 64 of ASECA. And it is my holding that that provision shall apply to each of the accused person. It's the law. Section 64 states, a person who is convicted of corruption or economic crime shall be disqualified from being elected or appointed as a public officer for 10 years after the conviction. So that stands. 2 and 3, I don't think they are applicable in this situation. So that's also part of the sentence. Also on the sentence is an order by this court that sentences in all the counts shall then run consecutively. So they run consecutively. So you can sum up and you find the sentence that one needs to pay. I order that short for accused persons are hereby discharged, and any security deposited in court shall be released forthwith. Similarly, any cash bail deposited in court shall also be released to the depositor. I also order that accused person's passport deposited in court shall also be released forthwith. I made a promise about the title deeds, Governor, and I've ensured that I come with them so that I personally hand them over to you. You can confirm whether they are appropriate. You can give him for your safe custody. They are still exhibits, but you are keeping them on our behalf if they be needed in any further proceedings. You can have a look at them with your counsel. If you confirm they are appropriate, you tell me. You can confirm whether they are okay. Kama ziko sawa sawa. Are they okay? They are okay. The power of attorney is something else that you may need because of the transfers. You may need it for Mainda. No, she's the one who produced. But if she can request, we will. She can just make a letter. Who produced? Are you sure? Yeah. So you'll also need it. Okay, I can also order that for safe custody. Correct? They are exhibits. If there are any further proceedings they may be required, you will also give them. Okay. The power of attorney, you are able to tell me it is. Then you can also get him. Yeah. Just a moment, I've not finished. Counsel, you can remind me the name of this lady. What's the name of the lady? Winnie Wangeshi Mainda. Thank you, Governor. Winnie. Just a moment. Yeah, yes.
No, the name of the lady who produced evidence and produced that was Elizabeth Mahinda.
Yeah, Elizabeth Mahinda. Yes. I issued, okay. Elizabeth Mahinda. But the production, you confirm it was produced by the first accused? Okay, I just confirm there's no problem. Don't worry about it. So, Mr. Monda, we'd rather release those one for their safe custody. Let them keep them. If there are any further proceedings, he has them.
He must be told that he must avail them.
Yes. Yes. Because I've indicated for safe custody. For safe custody. They are still exhibit, we have marked them. But you don't have got a good place where we can keep them. Maybe some water may come and destroy them. Then we'll be in trouble and would have destroyed someone's property. And I promised. And that's why even I've taken the trouble to ensure that they are fetched and they are brought. About the passport, I'm also following on them so that you get the passport. I'll ensure that shortly you get the passport. I hope someone is still on it about the passports. Yes, just so that I conclude on the sentence. Then you can address me if there's an issue that you want. So I've also meant that to be released. Then accused person will not have 14 days right of appeal. That's also your right against the judgment and the ruling on the sentence. I've also made an order that certified copies of judgment ruling on sentence shall issue to parties subject to payment of the charges where applicable. If it's the EACC and prosecution, they don't pay. JM and Swaka, you are to do something. Did you do? Well, that's where I check. Did we pay? I gave you.
Yeah, my office came for CTS.
Yeah, you paid. Can we check and confirm? Because I don't want to be sent a bill. And I'm only a salaried person. JM, it's only one to pay. Only one to pay. Now I've completed. Okay. Yeah. Just a moment. Yes. Okay, I had the proceedings of the proceedings, but the proceedings we need to have looked at them. The types one, there are a few typos here and there, as usual, you know. But I've even called the EO and I've told him if we can be given to a serious person to proofread them thoroughly, it's okay. But for the judgment you have, this ruling I'm going to give you right away. It won't even take a second for me to give you. Yeah. Yes, I put certified copies of proceedings, judgment, and the ruling on sentence shall issue to the parties subject to payment of charges where applicable. Does that one cover everything? Yes. Now, just a moment, Danson. Just a moment. So that we proceed a very orderly way. Let me begin with the governor. There's an issue that he wanted to raise. Then I can come to council. Raise it. It is good. You don't tell someone to sit down and it's not good.
I don't know over this case. They're still with them as well.
Now, where's Mohammed? Mohammed? Do you have Mohammed? That was the leader here. No. Leave people's bosses. Yes. Nganga, you stand in. Yes. Yes. In court. Okay. What I may do, Nganga, I just plead with you, just as I've been telling you. Please, if you find there's something that's personal, and probably we don't need it for personal proceedings, you see, like even mine I'm giving back, just give them on. Swakas made very good submissions, and it was good. We don't need to continue paying where really someone has failed it. There's no point. Correct? I've sentenced you. Just look at it on compassion. Correct? Yeah, because I've appreciated the work that all of you have done. Correct? Yes, and the accused person, they are being cooperative throughout the proceedings. So there's no point. There's a document, you find this one is very useful, give it to them. They may need it, you never know. Correct? Because give them. I don't need to ask them on what is happening. Now, a moment so that I take the addresses of councils as we wind up and we be brief. And either the rest of the exposure, if there is any clarification, you didn't hear something properly, you tell me. I tell you so that you hear it from me. You don't go home and say, oh, I didn't understand this and that. Engineer, you understood your issue. Yeah. Yes. 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 Just give me, I've told them in court, and I'm also going to reach out to them. Just for cordial relations. I tell them, those ones, look at them. Correct? And I hope you'll appreciate when, I'll also appreciate when you get them back. I tell them to give you, because there's no problem. Because the problem that I'm in, they are not exhibit. Now I can't release. I cannot just plead like a court. Because at the end of the day, they are being taken for a judicial purpose. You may think it is the judiciary that is offending you. Correct? But that's not the case. And because also our business to arbitrate. You know, my other work is just to ensure that we live in peace. Yeah. Actually, that's my core business. Yeah. I just want we live well. We have an orderly society. That's my core business. That's the work of the judiciary. So I'll also talk to them. also talk to them and tell them, please, if there's something that you think, go there and cancel, sieve through. Then they tell you, this one we are using, this one we are not. Get them. Correct? Yes. Council Swaka, don't go very far because I want to take Council's crossing remarks. Bridget. This one I shut up. Don't shut it out. But we'll go and print later once you're through this one. Councillor Danson, you are the one who was first on your feet. I think you have conversed with the Councillor Swaka, so you can have the floor, Councillor Damson, and we welcome you to these proceedings.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate the sentence onwards. We have one or two patients, right? Based on fact that the court has granted us 14 weeks to appeal. The appeal entails the substantive appeal, bail pending appeal. We shall be moving on both those limbs. And if we succeed to get the convicts out on bail pending appeal, the High Court will impose certain conditions to be met. The trial court had imposed its conditions. Till today, when Your Honor, you have discharged the sureties, and because this court has confirmed as official in this matter. Your Honor, to avoid a repeat of the evaluation process of those securities that, if the High Court grants, the accused shall have to undergo a similar process, we are pleading with this court to put in abeyance order for the release of the securities so that we shall be informing the High Court with prayers that the terms bond imposed in this court to apply in the High Court, and those securities are within the judiciary. We intend to move with speed. At close of business today or tomorrow, we shall be in the High Court to seek those reliefs. You know, that is our humble prayer, and on humanitarian grounds. So that for the brokers of the judiciary, it will be easy than from outset again to start the process again. In the event, if we fail, we can still move this court for the release of those securities that shall be in the custody of the judiciary. We are grateful, and that is my humble prayer. Thank you very much.
Yes, Your Honor, we try to also
the defense is still.
Okay, sorry.
You can say that.
No problem.
Thank you. Your Honor, on behalf of the defense, we have only 2 or 3 prayers to make. First and foremost, Your Honor, on behalf of the first accused, my instructions are that from yesterday, he's been feeling unwell. And you can look at his state in the dock. He's struggling. It's all right.
See, I'm incapacitated. I'm not an medical.
Yes.
I don't want to try something that I've never examined that patient.
That is right.
So
we agree with you.
Yeah.
We just want the court to observe that our ample prayer request will be that he be allowed to go to a medical facility, perhaps Kenyatta Hospital, just for checkup. I will not delve into his sickness in public court and in the media.
Yeah, there's no problem.
Yes. But I'll just be asking that maybe after here, he could be escorted for medical intervention. Secondly, Your Honor, on behalf of the 5th accused, Beth Wandeshi, Your Honor, she had deposited her cash bail, I believe, of 4 million. we're asking that the fine be utilized from that particular cash bin. On computing a fine, I think it's coming to about 1.4 million.
The fine.
When we compute, it's 1.4 now. My counterparts from the DPP's office are confirming with me, and also from the ACC, it's about 1.4. Yeah, it could be, the cash bill could be utilized for that. So that's it's expedited that it can be out. And we need that. Yeah, we shall supply everything. And I believe there's another receipt in the court file. And we can sue affidavits in case we don't have the reading. Yeah, thank you. And equally, we were just from what my learned friend Omari said. For the rest, if those who deposit their title deeds, the same could be reserved in the event, in the likely event that the High Court has agreed with us. Then the same could be utilized to second.
Yes, the final bit.
I also welcome it. I will not prevent you from that.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did not participate in the proceedings initially, and I was instructed after the judgment was read. We wish to also clarify that we be supplied with the copies of the proceedings and judgment and the ruling that has been rendered this afternoon, so that it can enable us to sift through and present ourselves to the High Court for the appeal that we are intending to file the soonest. And also, if it is possible, now that the exhibits have been presented before the court, if it is possible that we can have a rundown of the same in a bundle at our cost, so that we can be able to then prepare ourselves adequately for the appeal, as opposed to the ones that were supplied to the defense at the onset of the trial. This is because at times there are some exhibits that are normally supplied, copies of the exhibits that are supplied to the defense, and during trial they are not, they don't form part of the record of the court. And that is why we are making that application for those exhibits perhaps to be bound and we liaise with the registry if that order issues for purposes of completeness. Thank you. That is the application.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, we are opposed to the application. It is our humble submission that my learned friend, Mr. Omari, is making an application unknown to law. You have already ordered for the return of the sureties and even discharged them. You cannot be invited now to hold that in abeyance. That application, in our humble view, has been overtaken by events, and as correctly put by my learned friend, you are now functus official. It is our submission that you cannot go back and revise your own decision. In fact, I was waiting for counsel to invite us to that particular provision of the law, but that is yet to be done. and we submit there is none. This court, having discharged the sureties, is found artificial and cannot hold that decision in abeyance. With regard to the state of the first accused, Your Honor, we must realize that he is a convict. And there are systems in place within the prison for which that issue will be addressed. Therefore, counsels can address that issue with the prison authorities so that they can make arrangements for him to be taken for medical treatment. With regard to the last application by my learned friend, Mr. Mbele, Your Honor, the court can only make an order of exhibits it is seized of. You cannot make an order for a document that was not exhibited before court because it does not form part of the court record. In fact, Your Honor, my learned friend Mr. Swaka was given all those documents, including Mr. Njenga. Therefore, our submission is that they can liaise with this learned friends so that they can then be given the documents that were supplied by the prosecution. That would be all.
Council, 1 minute, Rebecca.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes. A brief rejoinder. One, a patient who has not been booked in prison, it's a word of this court. I urge the court to take judicial notice of what happened to John Gaku when he pleaded with the court. Yes, I'm only bringing.
You know, I've got a lot of respect for you. You're also my advocate.
Yes, I know. No. Let me move away from mentioning the name. But I'm only saying we are on this.
Just a moment.
On a light note.
Just a moment. Just a moment. Just a moment. So that I can convince you that. You see what has happened is, I came in when some of those things were said. And out of that, I've really been very humble and really look at the welfare of people. I've never taken a plea on someone on handcuffs, and I refused some of those tactics, simply to ensure that we are well, correct? And the only problem that I had with that was this. The narration, people were now going the other way around. Judiciary is killing people. And that was not the case. That was not the case. And for me, I know governor has got a life to live and many years to live. And I pray for him. He'll recover. He'll get well. Correct? Correct? So really, for that one,
who unfortunately did whatever happened, and because there were no investigators to find out what would have happened with him, let's let him rest in peace. Then for the one who is breathing, we just wish him well, isn't it? And we take medicine to him. That would be a better way, because now we are all mortals, and we'll not be scared, when now we are reminded of the afterlives, isn't it? No one wants to think about those things. You never know. It's only the good Lord who knows about it, and let's just leave that judgment to him. So I think my good learned counsel, have I convinced you?
You have convinced me.
Please, with a lot of humility.
With a lot of humility.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, only that.
I will.
We are not asking anything more.
I will.
That the prison officers take it to us.
That one I will.
And number two,
yes.
On the question of us leaving, you allowed to put your orders in abeyance.
Yes.
I didn't want to be mischievous to my brother, Mr. Munda, to say we can still leave those securities without us taking them.
Yes.
To go to the High Court and say they are still with us.
Yes.
But Your Honor, the court can, with its wisdom, see what is best for their district.
The only leave that is not under the...
Just a moment. Just a moment. I'm trying to rearrange the thing here. That's why I'm getting a little bit messy.
Yes, on one issue, yes. I did apply for the copies of exhibits, yes. And Mr. Monda replied to it. Yes. Yona, it may be noted that we were instructed, myself and Mr. Mali, to come and join hands with Mr. Swaka in this matter, this late after all the proceedings were undertaken. And I made that application because normally the prosecution supplies us with copies of exhibits that they intend to use, and at times they don't produce all that which they have supplied. So that we jump over that hurdle in a good way, which is not going to be prejudicial to the respondent, that is the state in the appeal. We wish that order issues for us to have copies of the exhibits that were used, that were rendered to court which form part of the record of this court. And that will be on our cost. So that then we don't produce in the High Court on appeal a document that did not find its space in the trial, even when it was supplied to the defense. That is the gist of my application here.
You know the case? Yes. Just to perhaps retaliate what has already transpired in terms of the medical attention to the client. We are many of this. Since the conviction and the sentence has passed, we know the next steps will be that will be handed over to the prison authorities. My prayer will be this. Upon the prison authorities taking over in a few minutes, and that will be in line to what the prosecution are praying. We'll be seeking that they match him, the escorting, the moving him to Kenyatta National Hospital for that particular checkup. Not the police, but the prison department, so as to safeguard his health. Tomorrow or the other day thereafter may be too late.
I could confirm about the cash bill for the fish. Can we confirm?
Yes, maybe confirm in terms of who paid the...
No, whether it's there.
The receipt?
Yeah.
We don't know, we can't tell unless my...
No, we'll deal with that as long as we have an order that the cash may be used. We'll follow up the rest. Because...
Or you better be able to.
But we have the receipt with us.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes, that's what it is.
So,
Oh,
the police remain with it downstairs. Their personal effects remain with them. Yes. Yeah.
Do you believe that shoots the bed? And I don't like people you coming, especially that guy. I don't like it.
It's in our bag downstairs. We know their personal effects were left with the police downstairs in the basement.
Yeah.
She's willing to send the officer.
She can rush and bring it.
Yes, she can rush. My boy handle later. Thank you.
Now I've made a very brief ruling. We have written other many things, so really, I don't think at this point it's good to continue making lengthy decision on a few issues that we have raised. I'll begin with the question of cash bail deposited in court by the fifth accused person. I think I start with what is very positive. So, fifth accused person, she's allowed to utilize. She brings, we have also confirmed from the CTS, it is here. She has deposited, but she can still bring it. Accordingly, the fifth accused person is hereby will be allowed to utilize, and accordingly she will be set free. No remand warrant should be prepared for her because we are holding her money. That's Beth only. The court is now functioning as official on orders regarding discharge of the sureties and the securities. So for that one, Councillor Danson, you can use the other option. Number 3, defense advocate who are joining Mr. Swaka at liberty to produce in court, to obtain copies of exhibit produced in court where convenient, subject to payment of the court charges. I've said where convenient. Like, for example, we have got booklets. Now, how do you photocopy those booklets? And you don't want to distort those booklets. So for those ones, the route that I want us to take is this. You find it's a booklet you can peruse. Then if EACC have got soft copies, you remember the soft copies, or even Taswaka, someone has got clearer soft copies, or the prosecution, just give you, correct? But I know there is the one page. The one page we can always give, correct? The one page, those one we can give. But the booklets, I've said only where convenient. And I've also stated, if need be, soft copies of the documents shall be supplied. So we try as much as possible. If we can give soft, the better. Now, number 4. For the first, second, third, and fourth accused person, you shall forthwith be remanded in prison custody at industrial area prison to commence serving your sentences unless you are able to pay your fine. If you pay the fine, you get out, or you get out from the High Court. Yeah. No problem. Then for the last order is about the first accused person. I made an order that you be escorted to hospital for treatment, but that is subject to the opinion of the officer in charge of industrial area prison on the hospital or the facility where you can be taken to hospital. I won't mention anything because now you are with them. They know how to proceed. Beth, while I was you were away, I said that because you have this, for you, you are set free, correct? Then we'll do that, and then we'll also make an order for the refund of the balance. So, Oibara, you can commence that so that your receipt, you issue her. Then we see what else we can be able to do. Where did I put that one? So I've added the balance to be refunded. So for you, you are free. You are not preparing any prison, any remand warrant for you. Now, Oibara, you hurry up. We do the prison remands. So you allow me just to end at that, so that we can go and see whether we can also have our lunch, our late lunch. Is that okay? Yeah. Yes. Yes. Now, who is making the deposit? You show me one. Show me one. Madam, are you ready? Correct? Okay, you work with her. For her, you let her finish up, and with all the remand. But they need to. Huh? No. I'm not. I won't issue. No. I don't need an order. What we do, I'm the one who's saying the remarks. Susan, trust in me. I'm not a bad guy. So, trust in me. Just hold her, then we process that. Don't need to punish anyone. Correct? And even if everyone was able to pay, I've got no problem. Because I've done what I'm supposed to do. And I've just done it in the confines of the law. Correct? I stand corrected by the courts above me. Correct? I'm just doing my job. So now, for that I don't need to worry, counsel. I'm the one who's saying the remarks. Correct? And the in charge. I don't know who you are dealing with. The OCS. She umesikia maneno ya Susan, eh? Yeah, hold her, the daughters to rush and pay. Just a mother, let her just go and pay her things. For Susan, we have no problem. So they can quickly, Oibara, please do. And I beseech you, as you pay these fines, only pay the fine only. We only need the fine. Correct? Susan, there is no facilitation. We only need the fine, please. I beseech you people. Let us observe the integrity of the process. Because I know the pressure that you may be experiencing. Correct? You trust, I'm not going to delay. I'll be waiting to sign for that. So just observe the integrity of this process. Because condiments are many, and people say many things. But you have heard the truth from me. Trust in me. Okay. Thank you, I wish you well. Thank you. You bring to 6.
Mwiroreri kuu ni kuria igoti-ini ria Milimani kuria uria wari gavana wa Kiambu Ferdinand Waititu mutumia wake hamwe na angi ana makoro marikia gũtuĩrĩrwo cira-ini wa ungumania wa ciringi milioni 588 kuria Waititu atuĩrĩirwo kioho kia miaka 7 kana faini ya ciringi milioni 52.5. Mutumia wake Susan Waititu nake atuĩrĩirwo faini ya ciringi 500,000 na ningi igoti nĩ rĩauga atĩ Waititu ndagĩrĩirwo gũkorwo agĩtungatĩra wabici-inĩ ya mũingĩ kwa ihinda rĩa mĩaka 10 thutha wake gũkinyĩtĩkana na mahĩtia mau ma ungumania. No Waititu kũgerera mawakiri ake nĩ augĩte atĩ nĩ egũkorwo agĩcokia cira riko nĩgetha akĩgerie gwĩtetera kwĩyeherania na itua rĩu rĩa igoti. O rĩngĩ ũrĩa warĩ gavana wa Kiambu Ferdinand Waititu nĩ atuĩrĩirwo kioho kia mĩaka 7 kana faini ya ciringi milioni 52.5. Maya na mangĩ maingĩ mwĩroreri no tũgũthiĩ na mbere na gũkũmenyithia mohoro-inĩ maitũ marĩa mekũrũmĩrĩra na mohoro mangĩ nĩ wona ciehanda thaa 10 mohoro-inĩ maitũ ma matemo. Ngatho nĩ ũndũ wa kũnyitanĩra na ithuĩ. Thiĩ na mbere na gũikara mĩtambo-inĩ ya Inooro TV. Njĩtagwo Gathoni wa Njihia.